I've been asked my thoughts on a lot of things in the past, and I mean a lot of things, not just in gaming, like movies, television, most of which I have a lot to say. And today is no different. Today I am talking about the newest Marvel Studios film, The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, I've never made this quite commonly known about me publicly, but I am a huge fanatic of Marvel-based projects, both comics and movies alike. Fantastic Four is my favorite superhero group, while my favorite Marvel character is Daredevil. So today, I'm going to be giving my honest thoughts on multiple categories of where I rank this film, Fantastic Four: First Steps. Categories are character development, design of the film, plot of the film, and overall enjoyment. So, character development. First off, we're going to talk about Reed Richards. Oh my God. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards is by far one of the best castings that I have ever seen in my life. I was a little hesitant when I heard about it because, I was under kind of like that, okay, are we just casting Pedro Pascal just for the sake of having Pedro Pascal in the film? Like, what are we casting him for? Like, is he going to actually portray this character well? And then I found out that they were doing a more older family style version of this movie, of these characters. And I thought to myself, oh my God, are they finally going to do it? Are they finally going to have a real family? Is it not going to be back and forth bickering? Is there only going to be the occasional thing here and there that normal families have, and it's not going to be all of the time like the first one was? Well, to my surprise, we had exactly what I was hoping for. Exactly what I, as a comic fan, wanted from a live-action adaptation. Reed Richards is the smart character that he needs to be, and he's also the somewhat clueless in terms of social situations character that he needed to be. Pedro Pascal does a great job portraying this guy who clearly has nothing on his mind other than anything but the world could be falling apart, and he has to think about it. He has to think of the worst possible things so that he can plan for it, so that he can prepare for it. That is Reed Richards, and that is how he should have been portrayed all along, and I'm so glad they finally did that. Now, the next character, Sue Storm. Vanessa Kirby did a perfect portrayal of Sue Storm. She has the motherly qualities that Sue Storm should definitely have at this stage in their lives. They are 4 years into being these superheroes, so this isn't like an origin story by any means. We do get, like, obviously a recap of everything that they had done, who they had fought previously, and honestly, we get to see so much about Sue in this movie. And I'll get to this in a bit, but it feels like Sue's movie, in a sense, and it also kind of feels like Reed's movie, and it feels like Johnny Storm's movie. Every single character in the Fantastic Four just have the right dynamic where you feel like everything you're witnessing in this movie could be anyone's story. Like, obviously not villains and whatnot, but in terms of the actual characters, the main four, there's no differentiating, like, okay, who is the real film about here? Like, are we focusing entirely on Sue Storm? Are we focusing on Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch? Are we focusing on Ben Grimm? Are we focusing on Franklin? Every single character has their moment. They all have their moment, and they all shine the exact amount of time that they all deserve in screen time. Joseph Quinn's Human Torch is phenomenal. We don't have that cool guy aesthetic that we had with Chris Evans, and we don't have that rebel aesthetic that we had with Michael B. Jordan, but this version of Johnny Storm is just, it's got that right kind of flair, that right kind of, I'm cool, but I'm also insanely smart. And we get to see Joseph Quinn do something with Johnny Storm that we've never seen before for Johnny Storm. And it really shows that the intelligence of all four of these characters are just perfect. There is one slight thing with Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm has a lot of screen time to the point where you understand him as a character and you get to see how lonely he feels in this world. And he's still struggling, even 4 years later, he's still struggling to get to this point where he feels satisfied in life, regardless of the fact that he has a family. The only gripe that I do have with this movie is that we kind of get a little lost in terms of Ben. We don't get to see Ben as much as I feel like we should, but that doesn't necessarily change my idea of the film feels like it's everybody's story, because it still does feel like it could be Ben's story. But I don't know. There's something about Ben in specific. They didn't focus on his story that much, and I don't know how I feel about that, because it's kind of sad. Ebon Moss-Bachrach did a great job as Ben Grimm, and the comic accurate design of the Thing, oh yeah, that's cool. Not to mention, growing a beard kind of helped his character look a little better. Yeah, I understand the Thing is supposed to look weird because, he's supposed to be this, according to the world around him, he's supposed to be this different character that not everybody looks at the same as the others. And he's supposed to have that kind of look to him where you look at him and go, oh. And then you start to get to know him and they're like, oh man, he's living a sad life. But that beard, something about that rock beard, it helps him look a little better. It helps him look a little bit more like, okay, I don't look at this guy and go, oh. I look at this guy and go, oh, that's cool. And then, of course, the last two main characters for the film, we've got Julia Garner's Shala Bal and Ralph Ineson's Galactus. So I'm going to start with Shala Bal. I was not expecting at all that we were going to get a slight bit of an origin story as to where she came from and what happened with her to cause her to become the Herald of Galactus. That was a nice surprise. But oh my God, Shala Bal in this movie is insanely cool. The CGI on Julia Garner to make her look like the Silver Surfer, on top of the fact that she is faster than the speed of light, just makes this character so much cool to look at every single time she comes on screen. Let's move on over to Galactus for a minute, because, oh yeah, Ralph Ineson, first off, that voice, perfect portrayal of what Galactus should be. But, wow, Galactus was menacing on the big screen. This dude, thousands of feet tall, 14 billion year old cosmic entity that's just, I looked at him and I could not believe how good they designed this character. They went more than full comic accuracy with Galactus at this point. He is perfect. I could not have asked for a better version of Galactus than this. And the one thing that they still have the opportunity to save, and I'm really hoping that they go down this route, I feel like Galactus is a multiversal being. I feel like he's just like America Chavez, where there's only one of him in the multiverse. And if that's the case, he's 14 billion years old. He could have gone through different universes and fed on different things. And the Fantastic Four movie that came out years ago, the first one with Ioan Gruffudd and Jessica Alba and Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis, obviously can't get him as the Thing, but that group, they faced off against Galactus in that movie, and he was a big cloud. But in this movie, we not only get to see something that makes sense as to what that cloud could have been, but we also get to see the true Galactus himself, and we get to see him tower over a city with nothing on his mind other than he needs to get what he needs in order to satisfy his eternal hunger. Galactus as a character, in this movie, he is a 14 billion year old entity that has nothing on his mind about like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? He doesn't need that. And they didn't give him that. He is, as Shala Bal described it in the movie, he's as essential as the stars. That is because this eternal hunger, it doesn't give him any humanistic qualities. He's been alone for 14 billion years, apart from having heralds here and there to like take him to planets and lead him where he can satisfy his hunger. He doesn't He doesn't look at a planet and think, I'm killing innocent people just so that I can feed. No, he goes and does it because he has to. And there's nothing about this character that results in any humanistic qualities at all, except for one really hard to watch scene at the end with Reed Richards. It is so difficult to watch because it makes you cringe because it's like, oh God, what is he doing? Like, I can't believe we're going this route right now. But that is the only time you ever see Galactus even smirk just a little bit. The rest of the movie, he's an unstoppable force of nature that has to go and do what he has to do, and that's just that. There is nothing around it. There's no way to explain, like, oh, he's doing this because he enjoys it. No, he does it because he has to. And that's the great quality that Galactus is given in this movie that needs it. I was a little sad to find out that John Malkovich as Ivan Kragoff, the Red Ghost, was unfortunately cut from this movie, but they do actually make a reference to him, and they do show Reed Richards fighting one of his super apes, which is amazing because the CGI of him climbing up a tower and stretching all over, it's the CGI of Reed Richards and all of his stretching powers were phenomenal. There was only one scene in this entire movie where it looked a little off, and that's when he's writing on a chalkboard in front of some kids. During all the action scenes, during all the parts that matter, Reed Richards is like, it's all flawless. There is no issues with it whatsoever. It is perfect. However, we do get another side villain character by the name of Harvey Elder, who also is known in the comics as Mole Man. We get a brief introduction in this movie to his place down under New York City, which is called Subterranea, which is basically just like a city for people who don't want to be up in the sunshine. They want to be down in the dark, and they want to be underground where they can just do whatever they need to do and keep the lights dim. You know, they don't like the sunshine. They call everybody up top sunshiners. Paul Walter Hauser as Harvey Elder it's that nice bit of funny, like, okay, this guy, he obviously doesn't know anything about how to live up top with the rest of society, and he's made this whole place for himself and all the people that believe in the same cause as him. Paul Walter Hauser did a great job as Harvey Elder. I would love to see him come back at some point in the future for Harvey Elder. And John Malkovich as Red Ghost, we definitely need to see that. At some point, I would love to see John Malkovich come in as that character. While it might not happen in the Fantastic Four universe again, it could happen some other time, or maybe it would happen in the Fantastic Four universe. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. With that all said, with everything said of what I just talked about, character development, the design of the film, the plot of the film, the overall enjoyment of this film, this movie is it is amazing. It's fantastic. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about this movie at all. 1 hour, 55 minutes of just nonstop, pure comic fun. I just love everything. So if I had to give my honest thoughts, my honest review, out of 10, and I'm going to base this entirely on the characters, how well they were portrayed, how well they were written, the design of the film. Was it a perfect world? Was it perfect CGI? Was the plot of the film good? Was it enjoyable to watch from beginning to end? Were there ever any dull moments? My answer to all of that is that this movie is a 10 out of 10. Fantastic Four First Steps is everything I've ever wanted from these characters in a live action adaptation, and I'm so happy that they finally did it right. They finally made a good Fantastic Four movie that I don't feel like I have ever any dull moments watching. So thank you, Marvel, for finally putting this together. Thank you, Matt Shackman, for being an amazing director. And thank you to Vanessa Kirby, Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, Evan Ross Bachrach, Julia Garner, Ralph Ineson, and Paul Walter Hauser for making all of these Fantastic Four characters absolutely amazing in live action adaptation. And I'm excited where this could go next, because if anybody has seen that post-credits scene, I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm not going to say what happened, but that gets you wondering what things could mean next. And I'm excited. That is all for this video. That is all for this movie review. If there are any other movies that you want to see me review and talk about in the future, and maybe even TV shows, let me know down in the comments below. I'm going to try my best to put these things together, and I'm going to review all of the Marvel projects going forward, what I think of them, and how I feel. That is all. I'll see you in the next film review.